I don't want to have time. Let it show time. Yeah. This is the hardest part for me. The part where we wait 30 seconds. 10 seconds. It's like a shuttle launch, but with less consequence. 3, 2. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Monday. It is May 31st, 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Okay. Well, it is Memorial Day here in the United States today, where we remember. Good morning, Denise. Where we remember those who served, and often those who passed, those who sacrificed. And we've got some quotes from Frank to talk about that. I'm going to try to avoid using the word celebrate, because that's not the tone that I think is appropriate. I get a little, there aren't a lot of things that really bother me, and I won't say this really bothers me, but it feels disingenuous when commercial enterprises have Memorial Day sales. Why? I don't get it. How does someone, how do people passing away in war lead to, I don't know, discounts on patio furniture? Doesn't make sense to me. But I guess that's because a lot of people don't actually take time to think about this stuff. And if you're in retail, you probably need to take advantage of people having days off like this one. Most people in the US aren't working today. I am. I'm not going to have a full day of work, but I'm working. I'm taking next week off, more or less. Looking forward to that. And what's going on the rest of the day? Just, it's kind of a normal Monday. Got some clients, got some work, and we're just chipping away. How was your weekend? I hope you had a good weekend. I had a pretty good weekend. Had a friend come in, visit for a couple nights. Friend from Maine. We watched a bunch of TV, played some video games. You know, one of the things that we watched was Army of the Dead, which has been apparently very well received on Netflix. And if you watch, and you watch carefully, if you know your martial arts radio history, or if you really nerd out about things, there is an actor in that film whom you may recognize, Samantha Wynn. Sam was on Martial Arts Radio and had a great episode. Really enjoyed talking to her. I don't remember when that was. Within the last couple years. But she's super cool, and it was great to see her on screen again, and she did a good job. Objectively, she did a good job. And if you've watched it but you don't know who she was the woman with the red bandana. The movie itself, I had some mixed feelings on. There was some stuff about it that was really good. There was some stuff about it I was like, eh. But it was interesting. There were definitely some interesting aspects to it. It was not, a typical, completely derivative zombie film. It had some, I don't want to say it broke any new ground, but there was some neat stuff going on there. I liked it. What else? Got out in the garden yesterday, planted some corn, planted peppers, planted some tomatoes. And if the rain isn't too bad, I'll plant some more this evening. This is what we do now. We plant things. If I'm not working, I'm planting. Did I do anything else? Went to dinner with a friend last night, came out from the restaurant, and I had a flat tire. Sad. So I changed the tire. I'm actually pretty good at changing tires. It's not that hard. Case. That was the weekend. There wasn't anything that big or dramatic that happened. Friday was a pretty normal day. Yeah. So I think we're going to keep this episode a little bit shorter. I don't have that much to say. So instead of me just dragging it out for no reason whatsoever, let's read the quotes. And remember, if you've got stuff you want me to talk about, Frank is happy to give up some space. In fact, one of the things that some of you probably don't notice is if we get a couple quotes early on, Frank doesn't post as many quotes. He wants to make sure everybody else gets space. He does a great job of that. Actually, Frank and I had a wonderful call on Friday. I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate you making sure I got stuff to talk about. So I never want people to think that, they're stepping on anybody else when they leave comments or questions or anything. So today's Memorial Day, and we have 4 quotes related to the subject. Number 1, this nation will remain the land of the free only so long as it is the home of the brave. Elmer Davis. That's a quote that we've probably heard before. I don't know if we've heard it on the show, but it is a commonly cited quote, though not often attributed. Here's how I would encourage you to think of this. We have all been in a difficult situation before. Most of us have been in many difficult situations. Think about difficult situations where you are tired and stressed and exhausted and afraid. How do most people handle those situations? Not well. People generally I find, will do kind of the bare minimum. But somehow, when we think about military service, we are confronted with many, many examples of people who were in just that sort of state. Tired, stressed, fearful. And instead of running away, hiding, doing their worst, they find a way to move forward and do their best. That is something worth considering, worth remembering. This is a martial arts show, so I will relate it to martial arts. I often, when confronted with something difficult, will think back to my original black belt test. If I can make it through that, I can make it through this. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Maybe the hardest. Definitely the most difficult in a short period of time. I made it through. And I suspect that for people who served and left the service, that they have moments like that too. I think we all have moments like that. But to try to imagine what it was like, in a foxhole, out on the front lines, anywhere with that level of danger, powerful. And while I am not opposed to serving this country, I am not opposed to serving alongside of others, I hope that I'm never called to, because if I am, that means some really bad stuff's happening. At just shy of 42, they don't want me. So I'm going to be pretty far down the list. Number 2. Oh, and by the way, I left the tablet unplugged, so I'm using this silly little Chromebook. Never throughout history has a man who lived a life of ease left a name worth remembering. Former President Theodore Roosevelt. Yeah, how do you add to that? We so often say we want a simple life, an easy life. What's the point of that? How does that help anything? It depends on what your thoughts on the purpose of living is. There's dirt in my coffee. Is that a fly? No, coffee grounds. I feel better. It was a fly, I just take it out. As the downside to this French press is that sometimes grounds sneak through. Never throughout history has a man who lived a life of ease left a name worth remembering. And I think there are a lot of things you could say about that. When I read that, I think of what living a difficult life does for someone, or a life with periods of difficulty. I believe strongly people will grow to what they're needed for, to what they see they're needed for. I relate it to goldfish. Goldfish grow to the size of the bowl they're placed in. So do human beings. Given enough stress and enough motivation, enough purpose, people do some pretty incredible things. But that purpose and those results only come as a result of the stress, the challenge. We know people like this. We know people who have grown up under horrendous circumstances and found a way to succeed, even thrive. And then we know others who grew up with an easy life and stumble. Number 3. And they who for their country die shall fill an honored grave, for glory lights the soldier's tomb and beauty weeps the brave. Joseph Rodman Drake. I don't know who he is, but I like that. I like how the words fall on that. We do a pretty good job in this country of honoring people who have passed away. In fact, at dinner last night, I had a pretty good conversation with my friend about this. We do not do such a good job of honoring people who are still alive. We take it for granted. It's only in the finality of death that we really seem to get good perspective on who someone was. We forget the frustrations. We forget the bad times, the pain. We celebrate them. What would that look like if we did that while people were alive? I'm not saying we should. I'm not saying it's the only way. But nothing but positive reinforcement. What if we did that? Nothing but positive reinforcement. It'd be an interesting world. Probably a better one, in at least some ways. And our last quote. It is foolish and wrong to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God such men lived. General George S. Patton, who had some amazing quotes. That man was pretty solid with words. Are we thankful? When we think today, other days, when we think about what we as a country have endured, I find it interesting. There was even a graphic I should put up on social media. And it was casualties by war. And it started with World War I. What about the Revolutionary War? July 4th is, not that far away. So maybe it's because we compartmentalize. We celebrate that then. But it's the only, if I'm remembering correctly, the only international war fought on our soil. I'm struggling for words. Oh, Denise reminds me of War of 1812. Thank you. this country is what it is. And every country is what it is. Has the boundaries it does, has the population, the history, everything. Because of the people who fought. Whether you support individual causes or violence or whatever, it's irrelevant. It's history. And if you look at where you are, as I often do, I have moments where I wake up and, or even just daydream, and I'm very thankful that I was born here. Now, I would hopefully think that if I was born elsewhere, but I'm thankful I was born here because of a number of things. But this country would not be this country were it not for people who made sacrifices, who served, and who deserve to be remembered. So I hope as you go through your day today, whatever you're doing, that you will take a moment and remember. And I'll let you fill in the blank on what you're remembering or contemplating. But it is Memorial Day here in the US. And if you're someone who watches from another country, I bet you have a Memorial Day somewhere on your calendar. Doesn't hurt to think of these things twice. And with that, I'm going to go. I hope you have a great day. I hope whatever you do, it's good. I hope you have a good day. And I hope to see you tomorrow for June. Tomorrow's June. Take care, everyone.